The burning of King's Landing is one of the most jaw-dropping moments in Game of Thrones. Daenerys Targaryen, once a beacon of hope and liberation, turns into a fire-wielding tyrant, reducing a surrendered city to ashes. But what if Jon Snow had stepped in before she gave the order? Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, where we team up with Grok AI to explore some cracking what-if twists from your favourite stories. Today, we are tackling a big one. What if Jon Snow killed Daenerys before she burned King's Landing? Let's recap what happened in the show. By season 8, Daenerys is coming apart at the seams. She's lost Jorah, Missandei, and 2 of her dragons, her children, and it's pushed her to the edge. When Cersei surrenders King's Landing, bells ringing to signal peace, Daenerys doesn't accept the surrender. She mounts Drogon and unleashes hell, torching soldiers, civilians, the lot. Jon Snow, her lover and ally, watches in disbelief as the city burns. Later in the throne room, he confronts her. She's unrepentant, dreaming of a world forged in fire. Jon, torn between love and duty, stabs her in the heart. He's exiled to the Night's Watch, and Westeros is left picking up the pieces. Now the tale takes a twist. It's the night before the final assault on King's Landing. Daenerys' army is encamped just beyond the city walls. A sprawling war camp of unsullied Dothraki and Northerners. Inside her command tent, maps are pinned to a rough wooden table outlining Cersei's defences. Daenerys paces, her silver hair catching the torchlight, her resolve hardened by Missandei's execution at Cersei's hands. Her mind is set on forcing submission through fire, a plan rooted in the same unyielding certainty she showed when executing the Tarlys. Jon stands nearby, his gut twisting as he recalls Varys' warnings about her father's madness and her own past actions. Her intent to cleanse the city with dragonfire becomes clear, pushing Jon past his breaking point. He steps closer, hand trembling on Longclaw's hilt, his decision crystallizing in the flickering light. With a swift, anguished thrust, he drives the blade through her chest. Daenerys' gasp, her hands reaching for him in shock and betrayal, then collapses to the ground. Outside, Drogon's roar pierces the night. The dragon crashes into the camp, scattering tents. But instead of unleashing fire, he nudges Daenerys' body with a mournful cry, gathers her in his talons, and soars off into the darkness. Jon remains rooted, blood pooling on the dirt, the tent falling silent around him. Chaos sweeps through the camp like a storm. Unsullied guards burst into the tent. Grey Worm lunges forward, spear raised in fury, his intent to kill plain on his face. The Northerners, already restless from the march south, close ranks around Jon, hands on swords. Arya slips in through the crowd, dagger ready, her protective instinct sharp. A brief violent clash erupts, still ringing out. A few fall, but Tyrion intervenes, his presence halting the bloodshed. His mind reels, torn between Daenerys' vision and the horror she's planned. The Dothraki, sensing their leader's loss, let out wild cries into the night, their unity fraying. News of Daenerys' death spread swiftly, stopping the assault in its tracks. Inside King's Landing, Cersei's spies report the turmoil, and a sly grin spreads across her face, her enemy undone without a blow struck. Jon stands amid his allies in the torchlight, hands stained red, his resolve unshaken despite the tension. Some, like Davos, seem to grasp the necessity, while the unsullied captains bristle with barely contained rage. The camp teeters on the brink, a powder keg waiting to ignite. Weeks pass, and Jon's axe fractures Westeros beyond repair. The Unsullied adrift without their queen, abandon the camp and sail back to Essos, their purpose lost. The Dothraki scatter across the countryside, raiding as they go, their loyalty to Daenerys no longer binding them. Jon's Targaryen heritage, known as Aegon through Bran's vision, emerges as a whispered claim, but it's a poisoned chalice. Sansa seizes the moment, rallying the Northerners to declare independence, her resolve firm against any southern crown. The Vale and Dawn eyes the chaos with ambition, plotting their own paths, while Yara Greyjoy tightens her hold on the Iron Islands. With Daenerys gone and Drogon vanished, carrying her body into the unknown, the fragile alliance that marched south dissolves. Cersei clings to the Iron Throne, her forces untouched, her foes divided. Tyrion attempts to forge a council, but mistrust runs deep after Varys' execution. Jon wrestles with his future. Pushing for the throne risks war. Retreating north abandons the south. The Seven Kingdoms splintered into rival factions, the hope of a united realm fading into the dust of the war camp. The key players feel the ripples. Sansa balances relief at Jon's survival with unease over his Targaryen blood, her focus sharpening on northern strength. Arya shadows Jon, her instincts honed to fend off threats, like the Dothraki stragglers lurking nearby. Tyrion drowns in wine, his thoughts tangled with grief of Daenerys' lost dream and doubt over his own counsel. Across the narrow sea, Daario Naharis learns of the deed and gathers sellswords, his mind set on vengeance against the Northern Kingslayer. Cersei, secure in the Red Keep, manipulates the chaos, sending coin to fracture Jon's fragile support. Bran watches from Winterfell, his cryptic musing hinting at a deeper design behind the events. The small folk weave tales. Jon's a saviour to some, a cursed figure to others. Beyond the camp, unrest brews. Gendry's folk in the Stormlands murmur of rights. Edmund Tully stirs in the Riverlands. King's Landing stands, but Westeros teeters a web of ambition, loss, and shifting loyalties. The broader fallout unfolds. Daenerys' death halts the assault, leaving Cersei's rule unsteady but alive. Her gold and wildfire prop up a shaky throne. The Northern army, weary from Winterfell, trudges home, abandoning Jon to the south's mess. Tyrion pushes for a gathering of lords, but few heed the call. Dorne and the Vale hold back. Yara raids unchecked. The small folk spared the flames, still chafe under Cersei's yoke. Unrest simmers in the capital's slums. Across the sea, Daenerys' vision for Essos fades. Slavers reclaim power in her absence. Jon's act, whether noble or rash, carves a void. Marching on King's Landing could topple Cersei, but the North wants no part of it. Staying put lets Cersei dig in, or perhaps a new figure, like Gendry rises. The realm's a tinderbox, its fate hanging on a thread. In this alternate timeline, Jon's strike in the war camp spares King's Landing the fire, but the cost is steep. The Seven Kingdoms fracture, Cersei hangs on, and Jon's left with a legacy of blood and uncertainty. No grand unity, no Dragon Queen, just a broken land nursing its wounds. What do you reckon? Did Jon save the day, or make a bigger mess? Share your thoughts below. Give us a like if this got you thinking, and subscribe for more What If twists. Thanks for watching.